tell you something about initials,
Mhm.
and there are different way of personalizing or give it a personal touch. One of them being the initials, but in some other cases, in very few cases, you find the year of construction of the building, for especially the buildings from the 1930s, and we could see that in through metalwork, but also religious symbols. This applies especially for non-residential buildings, such as churches mainly, where you can see the crosses, but also in some residential buildings where sporadically you would see a cross, or you would see in some buildings Allah written in metalwork. This is very rare, but I have seen it in one or two cases. So that was also an interesting way probably to manifest or to translate this marriage between the client and the craftsman, and this is where the client is imposing his roles and it was asking for a specific, let's say, rule for the design. Also, there's something to mention about that relationship is that we often talk about handrail, but there are many other elements. Handrails are part of the project itself, yet doors are probably in the most, some of the cases, but in many of the cases, sorry, in many areas of Beirut were added later. So many of the buildings did not have a door at an entrance door, and the door was added later, which explains why the language can be different between the handrail and the door. And also it can reflect the period when it was added. So probably the building could be from the early 1940s, and then the door was added later. Then you can understand here the similarity with other buildings that were the source of influence, some from the 1950s or from the late 1950s, etc.